The Echo of Xylos. Chapter 1. The Whispers in the Void. The starship Odyssey drifted in the silent, inky blackness, a lone metallic tear in the fabric of the cosmos. Captain Eva Rostova, her face illuminated by the cool blue glow of the bridge, traced a finger across the holographic star chart. They were deep in uncharted territory, a sector designated Xylos by the nascent Interstellar Cartography Guild, a region rumored to hold secrets as ancient as the stars themselves. For weeks, they had encountered nothing but the sterile beauty of nebulae and the cold indifference of distant suns. But tonight, something was different. A faint rhythmic pulse had begun to emanate from the ship's deep space sensors. A signal so subtle it had initially been dismissed as a sensor anomaly. Now it was undeniable. A persistent thrum that vibrated through the hull. A heartbeat in the void. Navigator Jian Li, his brow furrowed in concentration, adjusted the gain on his console. "Captain, the signal is structured. It's not natural. It's definitely artificial." Chief Engineer Marcus Thorne, a man whose hands were perpetually stained with grease, lumbered onto the bridge, wiping his brow with a grimy rag. "Anything I can do to boost the reception, Captain? The engines are running at optimal efficiency, but this is a weird kind of interference." Eva shook her head. "It's not interference, Marcus. It's a signal. And it's coming from the system directly ahead." She pointed to a cluster of stars on the chart, a region previously marked as devoid of any celestial bodies of interest. Xylos Prime, according to the Guild's preliminary scans, nothing there but dust and gas. "Well, it's singing a pretty loud song now, Captain," Jian said, his voice tinged with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "It's almost like a language." Suddenly a shiver ran down Eva's spine. The whispers weren't just in the void anymore. They were in her mind. A jumble of images, fragments of thoughts, alien and unsettling, flickered at the edge of her consciousness. She squeezed her eyes shut, trying to regain her focus. "Anyone else? Feeling anything?" The bridge crew exchanged uneasy glances. Lieutenant Anya Sharma, the ship's xenolinguist, a woman known for her calm demeanor, looked paler than usual. "I believe so, Captain. A pressure, and a sense of immense age." "It's the source," Jian murmured, his eyes wide. "Whatever it is, it's broadcasting directly into our minds. It's a psionic signal." The Odyssey plunged deeper into the Xylos system. The source of the signal remained elusive, a phantom presence in the cosmic darkness. As they approached the designated coordinates, the whispers intensified, weaving a tapestry of alien emotions and sensations. Eva knew, with a certainty that chilled her to the bone, that they were on the precipice of a discovery that would redefine humanity's place in the universe. Or perhaps, seal their doom. The echo of Xylos was calling to them, and they had no choice but to answer. Chapter 2. The Ghost of a World. The Xylos system was a graveyard. Not of ships, but of worlds. As the Odyssey navigated through the system's asteroid belt, Jian's scanners painted a grim picture. Remnants of shattered planets, their cores long since cooled, their atmospheres stripped away by some ancient cataclysm. The signal, however, pulsed with a vibrant energy, a stark contrast to the desolation surrounding them. "It's emanating from a derelict space station, Captain," Jian announced, his voice hushed. "Massive energy readings, but no life signs. And the station itself is ancient, older than anything we've ever encountered." The station, a colossal skeletal structure of unknown alloys, loomed out of the dust clouds. It was a monument to a lost civilization, its once proud spires now broken and twisted, its vast docking bays gaping wounds in its metallic hide. The signal seemed to emanate from its very core, a siren song beckoning them closer. Eva ordered a cautious approach, her hand hovering over the ship's weapons console, though she doubted any conventional armament would be effective against whatever had created such a behemoth. Marcus, ever the pragmatist, was already on his comms. "Captain, I'm picking up residual power fluctuations on the station. Enough to power a small city, but it's unstable, and there are anomalies, gravitational pockets that shouldn't be there." Anya, meanwhile, was lost in her own world. Her eyes were closed, her face contorted in a silent struggle. "It's a consciousness," she whispered, her voice strained. "Not individual minds, but a collective. It's memories, so many memories, of a world dying. Eva felt a surge of unease. Can you decipher anything, Anya? Fragments, Anya replied, opening her eyes, which were now filled with a profound sadness. They called themselves the Xylosians, a highly advanced race, deeply connected to the cosmic energies. They built this place, a sanctuary, a place to preserve themselves. They maneuvered the Odyssey closer, its hull groaning under the strain of the station's erratic gravitational fields. The signal's psionic component was now a palpable presence, a symphony of alien emotions washing over the crew. Joy, sorrow, terror, and a profound sense of loss. The signal's source appears to be deep within the central structure, Gian reported, his fingers flying across the console. It's shielded, but we can get a proximity reading, and, Captain, I'm detecting faint temporal distortions around the station. It's like time itself is behaving strangely here. Eva made her decision. Prepare a boarding party. Anya, you're with me. Gian, maintain a defensive posture. Marcus, keep the Odyssey stable and ready for immediate evacuation. She looked at her crew, her gaze steely. We're going in. Whatever the Xylosians left behind, we need to understand it. For all our sakes. The ghost of a world, resonating with the echoes of a lost civilization, was about to reveal its secrets. Chapter 3, The Chamber of Echoes. The airlock hissed open, revealing a cavernous interior, bathed in the soft, ethereal glow of bioluminescent crystals embedded in the walls. The atmosphere was cool and still, carrying the faint scent of ozone and something else. Something ancient and forgotten. Eva and Anya, clad in their environmental suits, stepped cautiously into the derelict station, their footsteps echoing in the vast silence. Sensors are going haywire, Captain. Gian's voice crackled through their comms. The energy readings are off the charts but localized. It's concentrated in the chamber ahead. They moved deeper into the station, their helmet lights cutting through the gloom. The architecture was unlike anything human engineers had ever conceived. Flowing lines, organic curves, and materials that seemed to absorb and emit light simultaneously. Anya's eyes scanned the walls, her mind grappling with the psionic echoes that still resonated within the metal. It's a repository, she whispered, her voice filled with awe. They didn't just preserve their physical forms, they preserved their consciousness. Their entire collective experience. They reached a massive circular chamber, the source of the pulsating signal. In the center stood a colossal crystalline structure, humming with an inner light. It was a nexus, a focal point of immense energy, and it was broadcasting the Xylosians' final testament. Captain, the signal is coming directly from that crystal, Gian reported. It's some kind of psionic amplifier. And it's broadcasting directly into our minds. It's a direct data transfer. Eva felt a deluge of information flood her consciousness. Not words, but pure emotion, raw sensation, and vivid imagery. She saw the Xylosians, tall, slender beings with luminous eyes, living in harmony with their vibrant world. She felt their joy, their curiosity, their profound love for the universe. Then, she saw the cataclysm, a celestial event, a cosmic wave of destructive energy that tore through their star system, annihilating their home world. They knew it was coming, Anya gasped, clutching her helmet. They couldn't stop it, so they gathered their essence, their memories, their souls into this archive. They uploaded themselves into the crystal, to survive, to wait. The psionic onslaught intensified. Eva saw the Xylosians' desperation, their fear, and their enduring hope. They had sent out their signal across the void, a beacon of their existence, a plea for connection, a testament to their resilience. They had hoped another civilization would find them, would learn from their fate, would carry on their legacy. They've been broadcasting for millennia, Eva said, her voice hoarse, waiting for someone to hear them. She looked at the shimmering crystal, a monument to a civilization's final act of defiance against oblivion. But why now? Why is the signal so strong now? Captain, I'm detecting an external energy surge. It's not from the station. It's from outside the system. Something is approaching. The chamber, once a sanctuary of remembrance, now held a new, unsettling tension. The echoes of the past were about to collide with the uncertainty of the future. Chapter 4, The Uninvited Guest. The sense of imminent arrival was palpable. The psionic whispers, once a chorus of ancient voices, now seemed to hold a note of alarm. Eva's hand instinctively went to her sidearm. Jian's status report. The energy signature is significant, Captain. It's unlike anything in our databases. Fast, agile, and heavily armed. It's bypassing the asteroid belt and heading directly for the station. Jian's voice was taut with professional urgency. They're not broadcasting any identification signals. Marcus's gruff voice came over the comms, laced with concern. Captain, the Odyssey is experiencing significant structural stress. Those gravitational anomalies are fluctuating wildly with this new energy source. We can't hold this position indefinitely. Eva's mind raced. The Xylosians had built this station as a repository, a silent testament to their existence. Had they also built in defenses? Anya, can you get anything from the crystal about potential threats or defenses? Anya's face was a mask of concentration, her psionic senses strained to their limit. The Xylosians, they were not warlike. Their focus was preservation, understanding. They feared a void, a consuming darkness. They saw it as an inevitability, something that would eventually seek out all light. She paused, a tremor in her voice. This new arrival, it feels hungry, like that darkness. A guttural rumble vibrated through the station, far more violent than anything they had experienced before. Lights flickered, and debris rained down from the ceiling. Captain, they're firing, Jian yelled, targeting the station's core structure, trying to destabilize it, I think. Eva felt a surge of anger, followed by a chilling realization. If this new entity destroyed the crystal, the collective consciousness of the Xylosians would be lost forever. Marcus, can you get us out of here? I can try, Captain, but it's going to be a rough ride. Those gravitational fields are fighting me at every turn, and this new energy source is making things worse. A blinding flash erupted outside the chamber, momentarily overwhelming their helmet visors. The psionic signal from the crystal spiked, then flickered. The crystal, it's been hit, Anya cried out, her voice laced with despair. Jian, give me a lock on the attacker's trajectory, Eva barked. Marcus, I need evasive maneuvers, now. The Odyssey lurched violently, as Marcus fought for control. Outside, the attacker, a sleek, dark vessel that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, moved with predatory grace. It was a stark contrast to the organic, luminescent beauty of the Xylosian station. The attacker's weapons are focused on the crystal, Jian reported, his voice strained. They're not interested in us, Captain. They want what's inside that station. Eva gripped the console, her knuckles white. They had stumbled upon a tomb, only to find a predator circling its prey. The echoes of Xylos were in danger of being silenced forever by a force that represented the very void the Xylosians had feared. Chapter 5. The Gambit of the Sentinels. The assault intensified. The unknown ship, a shard of obsidian against the stardust, hammered the Xylosian station with precise, devastating energy bursts. Jian's readings confirmed Eva's fears. Their target was the crystalline heart, the repository of the Xylosian consciousness. Captain, the station's structural integrity is failing, Marcus reported, his voice tight. We're taking hull breaches. I can't keep this stable much longer. Anya, her face pale, was still connected to the crystal, her psionic link a tenuous thread in the chaos. They have defenses, she gasped, her eyes wide. Not weapons, but guardians. The Xylosians foresaw this. They stored their consciousness here, but they also created something else to protect it. As if on cue, the vast chamber began to shift. Panels slid open in the walls, revealing alcoves previously hidden. From these alcoves emerged constructs of pure energy, shimmering forms that pulsed with an inner light, their shapes vaguely humanoid but alien. They moved with a fluid, unhurried grace, their presence radiating an immense, calm power. What are those? Eva breathed, awestruck. The Sentinels, Anya whispered. The Xylosians' final safeguard. They are not living beings, but manifestations of collective will, pure energy, guided by the memories of their creators. The Sentinels moved to intercept the incoming energy blasts. Where they touched, the attackers' beams dispersed, harmlessly dissolving into motes of light. The dark ship reacted with a visible surge of energy, its movements becoming more erratic, more aggressive. It's adapting, Jian said, his fingers flying across his console. The attacker, it's learning from the Sentinel's defenses. It's reconfiguring its weapon frequencies. Eva watched as one of the Sentinels met an energy blast head-on. It didn't recoil. Instead, it seemed to absorb the energy, its glow intensifying. Then, with a silent directed pulse, it sent a wave of psionic force towards the attacker. The dark ship recoiled, its flight path momentarily faltering. A wave of sheer, unadulterated confusion, laced with a primal fear, washed over the Odyssey's bridge, a byproduct of the Sentinel's mental probe. The Sentinels are not designed for direct combat, Anya explained, her voice strained. They are meant to deter, to protect. They are repositories of knowledge, not instruments of war, but they can overwhelm a hostile consciousness. The attacker, however, was relentless. It began to unleash a barrage of exotic particles, bypassing the Sentinel's energy absorption, and striking the crystalline structure directly. The crystal pulsed erratically, its brilliant light dimming. "Captain, the crystal is losing power," Jian cried out. "The Sentinels can't shield it from this type of attack." Eva knew they were running out of time. The Sentinels were magnificent, but they were a defense built on philosophy, not brute force. The attacker was pure, destructive instinct. "Marcus, I need a window, any window. We have to get Anya to the crystal. If she can interface with it directly, maybe she can stabilize it, or even transfer its essence." It was a desperate gamble, but the alternative was the complete erasure of a civilization. Chapter 6. The Heart of the Archive. The station groaned under the sustained assault. Sparks rained down on the bridge, and the hum of the Odyssey's shields was a strained whine. The Sentinels, magnificent and ethereal, continued their dance of defense, their luminous forms interposing themselves between the attacker and the crystal. But it was a losing battle. The exotic particle bombardment was slowly but surely degrading the crystal's integrity. "The attacker is focusing its fire on the crystal's main conduits," Jian reported, his voice strained. "If those go, the entire archive will collapse." Eva turned to Anya, her expression grim. "Anya, you said you might be able to interface directly. Is that still possible?" Anya, her eyes wide and luminous, nodded. "Yes, Captain. The psionic resonance is still strong enough for me to attempt a direct link. But it's dangerous. The energy transfer could be overwhelming." "We have no other choice," Eva stated, her voice firm. "Marcus, prepare for immediate docking with the station. Jian, maintain a perimeter. If that ship tries to breach the station, engage with everything we have." The Odyssey maneuvered through the debris-strewn corridors, its hull groaning in protest. They docked with a jolt, the magnetic clamps barely holding against the station's fluctuating gravity. Eva and Anya, now equipped with specialized neural interface gear, moved swiftly through the battered corridors, the Sentinels parting to allow them passage, their silent presence a somber farewell. They reached the central chamber. The crystal, once brilliant, now flickered like a dying ember. The Sentinels stood guard, their energy forms dimming with each impact. The attacker's ship remained outside, a persistent, malevolent presence, its particle cannons still spitting their destructive payload. "I'm ready, Captain," Anya said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. She approached the crystal, the neural interface cable snaking from her suit towards its shimmering surface. "Jian, I need you to give me a clear channel, no interference from that attacker's energy," Eva ordered into her comm. "Anya will need a stable link to transfer the data." "Trying, Captain, but they're jamming us pretty hard. I'm diverting auxiliary power to the comms array, but it's a delicate operation." Anya placed her hands on the crystal. A surge of pure blinding light erupted, engulfing the chamber. Eva shielded her eyes, feeling the raw power of the Xylosian consciousness attempting to merge with Anya's mind. On the bridge, Jian gasped as his sensors went wild. "The attacker, it's reacting to the energy surge," Jian exclaimed. "It's accelerating its bombardment." Inside the chamber, Anya's body tensed. Images, feelings, millennia of existence flooded her consciousness. She felt the Xylosians' joy, their sorrow, their wisdom, their fear of the encroaching void. She saw the moment of their collective decision to upload themselves, their final act of defiance, and she felt their hope, a desperate hope that someone, something, would find them and understand. The crystal pulsed violently, its light beginning to fade rapidly. The sentinels shimmered, their forms becoming translucent. Their purpose was tied to the crystal. As it died, so did they. Anya, Eva cried out, concerned for her xenolinguist. Anya let out a choked sob, her voice filled with a profound sadness that echoed across millennia. It's too much, Captain. It's too vast. The chamber plunged into near darkness save for the dying glow of the crystal. The attacker's ship pulsed with a triumphant energy. The echoes of Xylos were fading into silence. Chapter 7. The Revelation and the Flight. The chamber was plunged into a suffocating darkness, punctuated only by the frantic blinking of Eva's helmet lights and the faint, dying glow of the Xylosian crystal. Anya lay slumped against the fractured edifice, her breathing shallow. The sentinels had winked out of existence, their purpose fulfilled in their failure. The attacking ship, a monstrous silhouette against the starfield, pulsed with what could only be described as malevolent satisfaction. "Jin, status report," Eva barked, her voice tight with a mixture of fury and despair. "The attacker has ceased its bombardment, Captain," Jin replied, his voice hollow. "It's scanning the station, as if confirming its kill. And, Captain, the energy signature from the crystal is almost gone. It's fading fast." A cold dread washed over Eva. The Xylosians, a civilization that had spanned millennia and gifted the universe with their vast knowledge and gentle wisdom, were about to be extinguished forever. All their hopes, their dreams, their very essence, reduced to cosmic dust. "Marcus, get us out of here, now." Eva grabbed Anya, dragging her towards the airlock. "Anya, can you hear me? We have to go." Anya stirred, her eyes fluttering open. A profound sorrow was etched on her face, but beneath it, a flicker of something else, understanding. "Captain," she rasped, her voice weak. They gave me a final echo." What do you mean?" Eva urged, pulling Anya towards the Odyssey. "Not just preservation," Anya whispered, forcing herself to stand, leaning heavily on Eva. "Their knowledge, their science, it was about more than just surviving. It was about transcending. They found a way to exist beyond the physical. They were preparing to make the final leap." As they stumbled back onto the Odyssey, the attacker's ship moved. It fired a concentrated beam of energy, not at the station but at the Odyssey. Marcus, his piloting skills pushed to their absolute limit, managed to evade the brunt of the blast, but the ship shuddered violently. "Shields at 20%, Marcus roared. "We took a direct hit to the aft plating." "The attacker knows we're here now," Gian reported grimly, "and it's not letting us leave with any intact data." But Anya, clinging to Eva's arm, suddenly straightened. A spark of her usual intellectual fire returned to her eyes. The energy, the attack, it wasn't just destruction. It was a catalyst. The Xylosians, their final act of defiance was to use their own destruction as a means of transmission. The attacker's energy, it's infused with their final transmission. Eva stared at Anya, a sliver of hope piercing through the despair. "You mean, you received something vital?" Anya nodded, a faint smile touching her lips. "A fragment, a blueprint, not for preservation but for ascension, for a way to escape the limitations of flesh and space. It's encoded in the very energy that destroyed them." The Odyssey, battered and limping, accelerated away from the derelict station, the attacker in hot pursuit. Eva looked back at the dying monument, a tomb now, but perhaps also a seed. The echoes of Xylos were not entirely silent. They had found a new vessel, a new hope, carried within the mind of a single xenolinguist. But the hunter was still on their heels, and the true meaning of the Xylosian legacy was yet to be understood. Chapter 8. The Hunter and the Hunted. The Odyssey screamed through the void, its damaged shields struggling to deflect the relentless pursuit. The attacker, a sleek, predatory vessel of unknown origin, was relentlessly closing the distance. Its energy signature, once a source of dread, now felt like a twisted harbinger of Xylosian knowledge. "They're gaining on us," Gian yelled from the navigation console, his knuckles white as he tried to plot evasive maneuvers through the treacherous asteroid field. "Their propulsion systems are far superior." Marcus wrestled with the helm, the damaged aft plating groaning with every maneuver. "I'm pushing the engines to their limit, Captain, but if they land another hit like that—" He didn't need to finish the sentence. Eva watched Anya, who sat strapped into a medical bay chair, her eyes closed, her brow furrowed in concentration. The neural interface gear was still connected, a stark reminder of the immense burden she now carried. "Anya, any progress?" Eva asked, her voice a low murmur. Anya stirred, her voice a faint whisper. "It's fragmented, Captain, like shattered glass, but I can see patterns, mathematical sequences beyond anything we've conceived. Principles of energy manipulation that could rewrite our understanding of physics." She opened her eyes, which held a profound, almost otherworldly wisdom. "They called it the Great Transition." "The Great Transition?" Eva echoed. "It's not about escaping death, Captain," Anya explained, her voice gaining a little strength. "It's about evolving beyond the need for a physical form, to become pure consciousness, unbound by space and time. The attacker, it senses this potential. It's not just destroying the archive, it's trying to claim the secrets of the transition for itself." The attacker unleashed another volley of energy. This time, it wasn't directed at the Odyssey's hull, but at a specific point just ahead of them. The void itself seemed to warp and shimmer, creating a localized gravitational distortion. "What are they doing?" Eva demanded. "They're trying to cut off our escape route," Gian cried. "They're creating a trap." The attack was a chilling display of technological prowess, but also of a profound alien understanding of physics. It confirmed Anya's theory. This was no mere scavenger. It was an intelligence with a clear objective, to acquire the Xylosian's ultimate secret. "Marcus, I need you to take us through it," Eva said, her voice low and steady, "through the distortion." Marcus paled. "Captain, that's suicide. We don't know what that field will do to the ship." "We don't have a choice," Eva countered. "If we go around, they'll have us. Anya, can you use the Xylosian data to anticipate the field's effects? Guide Marcus." Anya's eyes flickered open, a spark of determination igniting within them. I think so. It's like a cosmic current, if we can ride it, not fight it." The Odyssey plunged towards the shimmering distortion. The ship bucked and groaned, alarms blaring as internal systems threatened to overload. Anya's voice, now clearer and more urgent, guided Marcus through the chaotic currents. "Hard to port, Marcus. Now. Maintain thrust. The field is collapsing ahead." With a final violent lurch, the Odyssey burst free of the distortion, leaving the attacker momentarily disoriented. They had bought themselves precious time, but the hunter was still out there, and the weight of the Xylosian's legacy now rested heavily on Anya's mind. The Great Transition was no longer just an ancient secret. It was their only hope for survival. Chapter 9. The Seed of Ascension. The Odyssey, battered but unbowed, limped through the dark expanse. The pursuit had momentarily stalled, but the palpable tension remained. The attacker, momentarily thwarted by Anya's guidance through the gravitational anomaly, was undoubtedly re-evaluating its strategy. "Sensors are still picking up their signature, Captain," Gian reported, his voice tight. "They're tracking us, but at a distance, playing a waiting game perhaps." Eva nodded, her gaze fixed on Anya. The xenolinguist, though physically drained, was now engaged in a quiet but intense communion with the Xylosian data. Her eyes scanned an unseen holographic interface, her fingers tracing patterns in the air. "Anya, what are you seeing?" Eva asked, keeping her voice gentle. "It's overwhelming, Captain," Anya whispered, her voice filled with a sense of awe. The Xylosians weren't just trying to survive, they were trying to perfect themselves. The Great Transition is not about fleeing reality, but about transcending its limitations. It's about unlocking the true potential of consciousness. She paused, a subtle shift occurring in her demeanor. A calm, almost serene aura seemed to emanate from her. They discovered that the universe is not merely matter and energy, but also information, and that consciousness itself is a form of information that can be reconfigured, optimized. Marcus, his hands still greasy, but his attention now fully on Anya, chimed in. "Reconfigured? Like upgrading software?" Anya smiled faintly. "In a way, engineer, but on a cosmic scale. They learned to access and manipulate the underlying informational fabric of reality, to shed the constraints of physical form and exist as pure, unadulterated consciousness." She looked at Eva, her eyes glowing with an inner light. The attacker, It understands the power of this, but it seeks to dominate it, to control it, to weaponize it. The Xylotians, they wanted to share it, to elevate all life. So the crystal wasn't just a backup drive, it was a launch pad, Eva mused, piecing together the fragments. Precisely, Anya confirmed, and the attacker's energy blast, designed to destroy it, inadvertently acted as a catalyst. It forced the final, incomplete data packet, the seed of the transition, into my consciousness. A seed, Eva repeated, a dawning realization spreading across her face. So the Xylotians didn't perish. They planted themselves, and we are now carrying that seed. Jian's voice cut in, a note of urgency returning. Captain, the attacker is closing in again. They've adapted their approach. They're not firing directly. They're trying to disable us with some kind of localized temporal field. Eva looked at Anya, a plan forming in her mind. Anya, if this transition is about manipulating information, can you use that seed to create a diversion? Something to throw them off our trail? Anya nodded, a determined glint in her eyes. I believe so. It's a raw, untested power, but the Xylotians' intent was preservation. This seed carries that intent. I can try to broadcast a false signal, a lure, a ghost of the transition, to draw them away. Do it, Eva ordered. Marcus, prepare for maximum evasion once Anya initiates the broadcast. Jian, keep us locked on a trajectory that gets us as far away from here as possible. Anya closed her eyes, her hands hovering over her console. A faint, ethereal glow began to emanate from her. The internal lights of the Odyssey flickered, and a strange, resonant hum filled the ship. Outside, in the vast darkness, a phantom echo of the Great Transition began to bloom, a beacon of false hope designed to lead their pursuer astray. Chapter 10, The Dawn of the Unbound. The phantom signal bloomed in the void, a dazzling, ephemeral manifestation of the Great Transition. Anya, her face illuminated by an inner radiance, had successfully woven the nascent Xylotian data into a complex informational lure. The attacker, its sophisticated sensors instantly detecting this powerful, untamed energy, veered sharply, its focus now on the illusory beacon. It worked, Jian exclaimed, his voice filled with relief and awe. The attacker has taken the bait. It's heading directly for the false signal. Marcus, seizing the opportunity, pushed the Odyssey's damaged engines to their absolute breaking point. The ship lurched and groaned, but it was moving, putting ever-increasing distance between them and their relentless pursuer. We're clear, Marcus yelled, a triumphant grin on his face. For now, at least. Eva watched the distant sensor readings with a mixture of relief and a profound sense of responsibility. They had escaped, but the encounter had changed everything. The Xylotians, a lost civilization, had left behind not just a record of their existence, but the very key to their ultimate evolution. She turned to Anya, who was now leaning back, the neural interface removed. The vibrant glow had subsided, leaving her looking weary but resolute. You did it, Anya, Eva said, her voice filled with admiration. And you carried their legacy. Anya offered a weak smile. It's not just my legacy, Captain. It's humanity's now. The Xylotians didn't want their knowledge to be lost. They wanted it to flourish, to help others achieve the Great Transition. She touched her temple, as if feeling the weight of the vast information within. It's a daunting prospect, to understand, to harness, to guide such a fundamental shift in existence. We'll have to learn, Eva said, her gaze sweeping across the star chart, which now seemed to hold an infinite number of possibilities. We'll have to learn how to be more than just flesh and bone, how to exist unbound. Jian looked up from his console, his eyes reflecting the starlight. But what about the attacker, Captain? What if they realize they've been tricked? Then we'll face them again, Eva said, her voice firm. But we'll face them as something more. We have the seed, Jian, and with time, patience, and understanding, we will nurture it. The Odyssey, a wounded but determined vessel, continued its journey through the void. The echoes of Xylos were no longer just whispers from the past. They were a promise for the future. A future where consciousness might transcend the limitations of its physical form. A future of unbound existence, waiting to be born from the courage of those who dared to listen to the whispers in the void. The journey had just begun.